This is a playthrough of 7 Days to Die I did on a friend server. We ended up getting about 5, 6, 7 people to join us. This is my home base that I ended up creating. I took over a in-game cemetery that already existed and completely dug out the inside of it and put in brick and cement and built a number of buildings. This is a gas station that I built inside the cemetery, fully stocked with gasoline and everything. Probably played this level for about 2 months, pretty heavily, so I was able to find a lot of high quality items. And then inside the church is I converted to be my living quarters. This is just visually, I didn't spend much time up there. Most of my time was spent down here in the pit. We're really far underground. This is where I could do some of my smelting that I was doing, but it was also my hiding spot during blood moons. Blood moons are when, if you haven't ever played the game, or when there's a whole horde of zombies that come and attack during the night and try to break their way into your place. This is the run to get all the way up to the bottom part of the cemetery. It's a very long, straight tunnel. I just wanted a good, safe hiding place on Blood Moon nights because I wasn't very courageous to try to fend myself with the horde that arrives. So I always hid down there. And I had a hidden wall where I stored all of my loot that I had found. All the food items and drinks. Let's turn the in-game volume down, or the video volume. And had a lot of health items and clothing, as well as the stored iron and ammo. Not in that one. Gun parts for crafting guns. I like to separate things off and keep it organized. That's a working sink where you could draw water from, so you could do cooking, and right next to it on the right, the black box, was actually an oven that you could use for cooking food. And the sleeping bag is just your save location, your spawn point. That's my hidden wall built into the cement. And now we're just inside the church again. Made a little stairway to get to the top. It's just mainly a lookout. I thought I was going to actually use it for trying to snipe zombies, but it was impossible to hit anything, and at night it was impossible to see anything. Even with night vision goggles, it just didn't work. So there's some pretty neat things down there. You can see the red barn, that's my chicken coop. The gas station, of course, is down there, and we also saw a whole farm. I don't know if you call it a farm. Vegetables and plants growing. So we'll take a closer look at that later. So gas station, 2 gas pumps. That's where I park my mini bike. Tried to make it look like a gas station. I thought I did a pretty good job. And this is my chicken coop. You can gather a lot of feathers and eggs from that. And they automatically replenish themselves after a couple of hours of gameplay. Flower box I created. So I don't know, this is outside of my town again. I called it Iron Town, as I was playing with a name that started with the word iron. Surrounded by spikes. Locked on all sides. This was an attempt at a replenishing... it didn't work. It was a replenishing way of getting meat and hides or something. This is a caged-in vegetable and garden, I guess we'll call it. Where I have corn and apple trees and grapes and barley and different types of ingredients that you can use for crafting food. I'm not going to harvest the whole thing, just this first row. And potatoes, more corn, blueberries, wheat, yucca fruit, which is a desert-like fruit. That'll line yourself up exactly. It's actually quite hard sometimes to harvest some of the food. This video is primarily just made for myself for nostalgic reasons. It's just so I can look back in years to come at what I did. I'm not really teaching anyone how to do anything. It's not a learning video. These are all the skills. Some I've upgraded, most I've upgraded. Some I didn't bother doing. I did not fire guns off very often, so you probably saw that most of the gun, pistol, shotgun, rifle, had not been upgraded because I really liked just using a bow. Fending off the zombies with a bow just seemed like the biggest challenge, and I mainly just did that. So now we're going to leave Iron Town and go and look at just some of the neighboring places that I went to while playing. That's the cemetery I took over, and we're going to probably drive, I think, north, west for a bit into the snowy zone. That's the white area. Nearby town. And then I guess we're going to head east, go by another small nearby town, and then follow the road south more as we head towards some of the other players that were in this map with us. Some of the motorcycle areas I end up fast forwarding by about 50%, I think, something like that, so it just goes a little faster. I wanted to be able to see the environments when I later watched the video and remember all the time I spent there. So of course this is going to be a rather boring video for other people, but it's mainly being created for myself. That's generally why I create most of my videos, so I can just view them later. And I mean years later, because I like to archive things, and it's fun to watch for myself. So. And this is the snowy area. This is a place I came to towards the end of the game. I always felt like it was going to be too difficult to handle earlier on, so once I became better at playing the game, I started to venture my way in here. Finally had enough warm clothing that I wouldn't freeze minutes after arriving. And I'd found in my searching around, there was this base here. I've already gone into it and killed all the zombies. The zombies have respawned. But this was like a military complex of sorts. It did not have mines on the outside, so maybe it was just a winter outpost. It had guard towers in the corners. Oops. Need to reload my crossbow. Check for enemies. And start fighting. I'm just quickly trying to do some fighting here, since this is probably the only time I'm going to have fighting in the video. The big lumberjacks. The fat guys, if you don't get them killed, they will explode. And it will damage you. Good. Try to get a headshot. That's the best way to guarantee them. And I don't know if this is a bug in the game, but sometimes they don't fall down. So, it's kind of funny. So we're going to head back to the mini bike and drive to another town. If I can find my mini bike. Okay, apparently I want to kill another one. I made these recordings about 2 months ago. So I forget exactly what happens. As I had shown on the map earlier, you don't want to have to rewind, and I'm not showing the map again in the video sequence here, but this is just a small little town that has 3 buildings. There's a gas station to the right. I built my own gas station, following similar model of how they did. There's a grocery store on the right here. It's pretty much been gutted. A lot of zombies spawning here all the time, and then this fenced-in area is more of just a facility, you know, some engineering facility that has some computers in it and things. So now we're going to just head east. That was that town that we just left was my town closest to me, and it wasn't even that close to me because I built my base so far away from the populated areas towards the center of the map. I ended up having to travel quite a long distance, and I didn't have a mini bike, of course, at the beginning, so it was a long haul run just to get to that small little town, and then there wasn't a whole lot to loot there either. So it wasn't the greatest idea in the world to actually start and dedicate myself to making a base all the way out here, but it did allow for me to be in a secluded place and not have to worry about other players you know, coming in and ganking or trying to destroy my property and steal stuff. We ended up playing with a cool group of guys, though, that really, that wasn't their intent either. A whole lot. They are pretty much PvEers, not PvP players. So that was good. We then turned the server, just dedicated it into PvE, and even announced that. That allowed for us to be able to build in peace and just have fun gathering materials and killing zombies. So we're driving towards another small little town. It's on the way then to a friend of mine's base. Actually, I think before we even get there, we're going to stop by a base made by two players that came in to join the server by the names of Cheese and Numo. And those two guys together built a very intricate base, far bigger than my my cemetery base, and they left it unlocked. So my video has me going inside and taking a look at some of their things. It wasn't a proper tour because they weren't there to give the tour, but I snoop around a bit and check some stuff out. So that's where we're at. We're heading south towards the big town, and it's in that town that we're going to see their base. Yeah, right down there in the bottom right corner. And then there is where we're going to find the base of my friend, and then to the right of the lake in that town is another base that another player created. So they're all clustered together. I'm really far away. There were other players that joined the server. I have no idea where their bases are. Never found them. There was a person from, I think, the UK, a girl from the UK that joined the server. Never found her town, her base. But she stopped playing a long time ago, so it probably deteriorated over time anyway. I'm going to make these go faster. This is all sped up. Those parachutes are drops, supply drops made by supply planes, these big planes that fly overhead and drop them periodically. And you can stock up on various medical supplies and sometimes some rarer items that are hard to get. And sometimes you can only get them from that way. Oh, here she's going to explode. Sorry. Yeah. Well, this first little house here, I guess the reason why I stopped was to kill a few zombies, but also that first little hut was actually where I always used as my stash. I built a couple of crates inside there, lockable crates, and then when I would search this town at the very beginning, I would loot all the houses and bring the stuff back and drop it off into those crates. That way I can make fewer runs all the way back to my house, because I would just wait for items to stack up, and then when they would become a large stack of something, then I could carry a bunch back at once and not have to make small trips carrying them back individually as I found them each day. So this is just a busted up house that I'd been in many times before. Safe in the corner of the swimming pool. It's all houses that have this exact shape will always have a pool in the back with a safe in that corner. So once you learn these little tricks, you can begin to know where to go and find stuff under staircases, in pools, things like that. I'm realizing that this is probably an extremely boring video for anyone who didn't play on this server or is just trying to learn about the game. I'm not explaining a whole lot, I guess. It's a lot of driving around. But I don't have a whole lot to say because it was so long ago that we played. It was probably 3 months ago that we played on this server and 2 months ago that I made the video. And now I'm finally commentating it. So I'm just trying to wing it as we go through here. checking out the town. Pretty much looks like any of the other towns, but I specifically remember the layout of this town because it was my town. The town we would go to for big supply runs. So now we're at Cheese, Mr. Cheese or something, and Numo's place. And this is what they built. Heavily fortified with spikes, though there's another guy that I think pretty much went crazy with spikes. We'll see his base last. Keep things unlocked, I believe, so yeah. Open the door for him. Crafting area, and kitchen area, and storage, and this is my first time in here, so I'm just kind of running around. I guess that's where they store clothing, clothes. I'm going to let them know that I made this video so they'll be able to see it and remember their time playing it, unless they made a video of their own. I don't know. If it opens, I go in. Oh, I remember. I pretty much get lost down here. It's an up, down, left, right maze of tunnels, and if you don't know where you're going, you can easily get lost in here. Looks like a well thought out room. Some of the other tunnels looked a little incomplete, but that looked good there. I think I'm lost. So now I'm going to try to get out. I think there's an airplane with a supply drop. Found some new stuff up here. Precarious. No railings. Oh, I thought that was the way out. It wasn't. Start backtracking again because I don't know where to go. There we go. I think I remember now. Mo cheese. They labeled there as well. They planted a whole forest of trees to the right there. That's all done by them. So now we're heading off to a player's base by the name of Late at Night. Oh, that's his voice there. That was some in-game voice of his, I believe. From back when we used to play. So the place we just left was a creation made by two separate guys. This is just one guy's place, like mine was as well, at the cemetery. A little smaller in size. But it does the trick, because I've actually been here when zombies have attacked a number of times, and we did have the wall break down once, I think, and oh yeah, I even ended up getting killed, and they sort of did break in a bit, but I was also being overzealous and trying to get into the melee and really fight them. With crossbow, not melee fighting, but fighting them melee-wise. Yeah, he's got some crates and downstairs foraging area, as well as a way, underground access to get to his mini bike area. And then there's a top level, which we'll take a look at. I think this was his hiding room. Oh no, one more further down, right? This is where he hid for his blood moons, and wasn't as far away from his base wall as the way I made mine. I made mine really far away. His chicken coop. And his garden. And his motorbike. Some bug in the game. I don't know what it was doing on the roof. I mentioned it to him later, and he's like, no, it shouldn't be up there.
It shouldn't be.
There, he said so.
Strange, I haven't even taken it out. Last time I was on, I didn't even use it. I'm gonna go take a peek at those shows. I'll be back.
I haven't been upstairs yet. Now we're heading off towards some other guy that played on the server. I don't remember what his name, Skeeter or something like that. He built his base inside a smaller town. Yeah. I thought I had his name written down somewhere. I don't. Okay. Anyway. Yes, he did a lot of spikes as well. A ton of them. They're easy to replenish. You just chop down trees and convert the wood immediately into these spikes. But they also break easily. And I would think a blood horde would just decimate them. I don't know. Never tried them. So, this is my first time here. I'm just trying to navigate around. He built an expanded gas station here with, looks like 6 pumps. Or I guess 6 pumping units. Each one has 4 on it. So it's a lot of pumps. And eventually I'll be able to make it into his base and look around a bit. Spikes galore. This chicken coop. Everyone seems to keep the doors unlocked because we were playing PvE. I always kept my doors locked, so no one, if they ever decided to come out into the middle of nowhere to find my place, they wouldn't have been able to get in unless they built a staircase of blocks and jumped over the fence. I suppose they could have done that. He's got a little farm there. He grew a lot of trees. That's some thick forest over there. That is not normal in the game. Lots of spikes on all sides. This is forge/kitchen. And that's basically it. The last thing I wanted to look at was after I drove my mini bike in the lake, so I can't use it anymore, is I came to this lake a lot to submerge myself and dig away at the clay and sand that you can get here. And when you dig away a lot underwater, it creates water anomalies. That's why the water looks a little strange up on top. But I spent a lot of time here because I couldn't get any good amounts of sand or clay over by my base at all. Sure, there was some some sections of clay on the ground, but not a whole lot. So that's my video.